Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
A disturbing video that shows the beheading of a U.S. journalist by the terrorist group ISIS. Tonight, the victim's family is speaking out.
We are learning much more about a school shooting plot in South Pasadena. Police saying two teenage boys had a very specific plan.
And another tense night in Ferguson, Missouri, as residents brace for another night of possible violence. A live report from the scene. Good evening, I'm Giovanna Lotta, in for Colleen Sullivan.
And if you don't know, welcome to Eyewitness News in LA56. Chilling video showing an American journalist being executed by the Islamic group ISIS. His family releasing a statement tonight from New Hampshire confirming the death of James Foley. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live at the Satellite Center with the disturbing details. Alex?
David, at first there were a lot of questions about the authenticity of this video, but tonight both his family and U.S. officials are confirming that the video is indeed real. The video is so gruesome, we've chosen only to show you a few screenshots from it.
In this screenshot from the video obtained by ABC News, James Foley is dressed in orange. His apparent executioner is beside him, holding a knife in his hand. Foley is forced to make a statement saying that he wishes he wasn't an American. Then, his executioner addresses President Obama in English with a strong British accent. He says this killing is a payback for the recent killings of Muslims and the recent American bombings in Iraq. Then, he beheads Foley. Next, the ISIS video shows American journalist Steven Sotloff. The man dressed in black says to President Obama, quote, "The life of this American citizen depends on your next decision." Tonight, James Foley's mother posted to the Find James Foley Facebook page, quote, "We have never been prouder of our son Jim. He gave his life trying to expose the world to the suffering of the Syrian people. We implore the kidnappers to spare the lives of the remaining hostages. Like Jim, they are innocents."
And write and shoot the story, rather than accidentally becoming a story.
Foley was captured while covering the conflict in Libya in 2011. After being held there for 6 weeks, he returned to reporting. He was captured again while working for Global Post in Syria in 2012, and he's been held ever since. Tonight, Southern California Congressman Adam Schiff issued a statement, quote, "Seldom is the descriptor evil applied with perfect accuracy as it is with this monstrous group that glories in death." Schiff referenced American journalist Daniel Pearl, also beheaded while covering a conflict in Pakistan back in 2002. Quote, "Journalists on the front lines are true heroes, and James' work, like that of Daniel Pearl before him, will inspire others to carry on in spite of the dangers." Tonight, there are renewed concern about Austin Tice. He's a journalist who traveled to Syria to report in 2012. He'd often post videos from the front lines to his Facebook page.
We're hearing some automatic gunfire and stuff from the surrounding area.
Tice, a Texas native, has been missing for 2 years.
I once again call on the Obama administration to do whatever they can through the resources that the federal government has to locate and safely return Austin Tice.
A vigil is underway right now in Houston, Texas, to pray for the safe return of Austin Tice. That vigil had already been planned ahead of time tonight because this is the 2-year anniversary of Tice being captured. Tice's family says that they've often been in contact with Foley's family and that they are praying for them tonight. Reporting live from the Satellite Center, Alex Michelson, ABC7. Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you. More details are emerging tonight about a plot to shoot up South Pasadena High School. Authorities say the two teenage suspects knew who they wanted to kill and they were willing to die in their effort. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter has the latest plus new reaction.
A practice run for South Pasadena police of a mass school shooting, a scenario that almost turned into a real-life massacre as 2 students were arrested for plotting a deadly attack.
We talked to them about how far they wanted to go, knowing that at the end there would be a potential shooting with officers. They were willing to die for that.
This exercise on campus just a couple of months ago, a frightening image of what investigators say would have been needed to stop the students if they had carried out their violent plans.
They had a plan to kill at least 3 staff members and then random students. There was no specific type of victim they were looking for. They just wanted to kill a lot of people.
Authorities won't say what the motive was, but say the 16 and 17-year-old suspects did not have a planned date to execute their plot. Still, many students say they are shaken.
It's pretty freaky because like school's gonna start in like Thursday, so like I don't know what if their plans was to shoot on Thursday.
This student knows one of the suspects and says he saw no signs he was troubled.
He was a nice guy. He would always come to class. He would show up. He'd do his work. He'd talk to people. He was nice.
Police say a friend alerted the school after the suspects talked about their plan online, and that is where investigators say the teens researched how to build an arsenal ready to claim as many lives as possible.
They had researched weaponry, how to make explosives, how to disarm people. They were researching tactical elements on how to go in and be the aggressor with firearms.
Authorities aren't releasing the names of the suspects since they are juveniles. Again, school set to begin on Thursday. Extra police will be on hand as well as counselors. In South Pasadena, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The Los Angeles Unified School District is announcing a new discipline policy that chooses counseling over criminalization. Students who commit a minor violation for the first time will be sent to off-campus counseling or the principal's office instead of being cited and sent to court or probation. Those minor offenses include having alcohol or marijuana on campus.
Protesters are out again tonight in Ferguson, Missouri. So far, we have not seen a repeat of last night's violence. Violence has erupted for more than a week in Ferguson over the killing of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer. ABC's Taman Bradley is there live with the latest on the civil unrest. Taman?
Hi, David. Good evening. Yeah, that's right. It seems quiet tonight, but there is once again a heavy police presence on the streets here. The authorities are especially concerned with people coming in from out of town. Now, earlier in the day, there was new outrage here.
Near Ferguson, angry demonstrators gathered after another police shooting. Officers in St. Louis shot and killed a 23-year-old black man they say was coming at them waving a knife.
That's crazy, man.
Police say the shooting appears to be justified. The man, a robbery suspect, was screaming, acting erratically.
Well, our policy is that at the end of the day, the officer should be able to go home.
Meanwhile, on the streets of Ferguson, residents waited to see what the night would bring. Community leaders urged people to stay home to avoid another evening of this. 78 people were arrested Monday, more than twice the number initially reported. Many of the people coming from outside Ferguson, most from St. Louis, some from as far away as New York and California.
There is a dangerous dynamic in the night. It allows a small number of violent agitators to hide in the crowd and then attempt to create chaos.
The anger in the streets is over the death of 18-year-old Michael Brown, who was shot and killed by a Ferguson police officer. Brown's funeral will be held on Monday. The officer at the center of the storm, Darren Wilson, was interviewed by local authorities, and Wilson's good friend, who asked that we conceal his identity, is now speaking out.
Darren's a good person, and people have just immediately jumped to label him as a cold-blooded murderer.
And a grand jury will likely start hearing evidence tomorrow, but it's not clear how long it will take to decide whether Officer Wilson should be charged. Live in Ferguson, Missouri, Taman Bradley, ABC7 Eyewitness News. David?
Taman, what are community leaders doing to calm things down, and are they talking about reforms at all?
Well, David, the City Council is talking about reforms. They want to reach out to this majority black community. And one of the things that they want to do is to try to increase the number of black police officers here. There are only 3 out of the 53-person police force. And they're also talking about possibly raising money from the community so that they can pay for police to have cameras on their uniforms and also in their squad cars.
All right, Tamar Bradley, thank you so much for that update. In the meantime, coming up at 8:30, the Ferguson, Missouri shooting has authorities here in Southern California taking a serious look at police cameras as well. A full report coming up at the bottom of the hour. Mixed martial arts fighter War Machine waived his extradition today and will return to Las Vegas within the next 30 days. John Koppenhaver is accused of brutally beating his porn star ex-girlfriend, Christy Mack, earlier this month and then fleeing to Southern California. He was arrested Friday at a hotel in Simi Valley and is charged with felony battery, assault, and coercion. His family is standing by him.
He's not an animal. You guys have painted him to be a monster.
Copenhagen could spend more than 25 years in prison if convicted in all charges. He's currently in a Ventura County jail awaiting extradition to Nevada.
We're hearing for the first time from the family of a man who died after a sheriff's deputy shot him with a taser gun in Victorville. It happened last Tuesday on the 13,000 block of Bucknell Court. A resident called 911 to say someone was trying to break into his house. Deputies confronted the suspect, identified as Dante Parker. They say he appeared to be under the influence of a controlled substance. They say he was combative, and a deputy used a taser several times on him. Parker died a short time later.
He had a family to come home to. He was our provider. He was the rock of our family. And I don't want to go through life being a bitter person, but I feel myself having a whole bunch of anger. And I had my son as a human being. I raised him as a human being. And he shouldn't have had to go out like an animal.
Family members want an independent investigation into what happened and deputies to wear body cameras so that all interaction with the public will be recorded. A Bellflower man accused of attacking a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy has been charged with attempted murder. Frankie Estrada was arraigned today in court. The 21-year-old is also charged with aggravated mayhem, unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, and battery. On Friday, Deputy Brandon Love responded to a domestic dispute at Lakewood Center Mall. While escorting Estrada to be questioned, he allegedly attacked the deputy, knocking him unconscious and repeatedly kicking and stomping his head. The deputy remains hospitalized in serious condition. If convicted, Estrada faces possible life in state prison.
The weather is helping firefighters contain a wildfire near Yosemite National Park. It began yesterday. It is being fueled by gusty winds and dry brush. Higher humidity and calmer winds are keeping the flames from spreading. So far, the blaze has burned just under 2 square miles. 8 structures have been destroyed and about 1,000 people have been evacuated. 500 homes remain threatened around Oakhurst, near the entrance of Yosemite. And dangerous flooding in and around Arizona right now. As much as 8 inches of rain has fallen by midday in the mountains north of Phoenix. One home was completely surrounded by fast-moving water. The people inside had to be rescued by helicopter. Elsewhere, people were pulled from stranded vehicles. A section of Interstate 17 was shut down. Fortunately, there are no reports of anyone killed or injured.
Next here at 8, Texas Governor Rick Perry turns himself in for an indictment today, but not before addressing the media. We've got his mugshot.
Plus, caught on video, a high-speed pursuit ends with a vehicle slamming into a crowded restaurant.
And if you notice today, some changes, clouds, cooler weather, another change in the forecast coming up, rain. I'll tell you about it in your 7 days. Stick around.
Reaction to the death of a television institution. I'm George Pinocchio. That's in tonight's Hollywood Wrap. Plus, Julia Roberts and Derek Huff about to be honored at the same award show. And details of an auction of Madonna items. Next.
Texas Governor Rick Perry has turned himself in on abuse of power charges. Governor Perry was fingerprinted and his mugshot was taken at the courthouse in Austin. He was indicted by a grand jury for threatening to veto funding for a public corruption unit in the district attorney's office. Perry demanded the resignation of Democrat Rosemary Lemberg, head of that unit, after she was convicted of drunk driving. He did carry out the veto threat and insists his action was constitutional.
I'm going to fight this injustice with every fiber of my being. Yes, sir. And we will prevail.
Perry claims the case against him is politically motivated.
Nearly 8 o'clock, scary moments for some patrons at a Bay Area restaurant, and it was all caught on tape. Take a look. Watch as a car comes crashing into Fred's Place in Sausalito. Fortunately, the customers were able to avoid being hit. Deputies were chasing a domestic violence suspect when he crashed into the restaurant. The man then took off on foot but was later arrested. A woman and a toddler were in the car and were not hurt. A total of 4 people were injured in the chase, including the suspect. That's a beautiful community, Sausalito. That's the last thing you'd expect to see there.
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
That is... It hits you hard, that video.
It sure does.
Don't want to be that situation.
So what about our weather? Is it going to hit us hard?
It's going to hit you hard because it's a big change. We had that heat the last week. What did you feel today?
Cooler.
Cooler? What did I tell you it'd be? Cooler.
Cooler.
Good. Okay, good. There was hesitation there. I told you it'd be cooler.
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, it's okay. You can say it. That can validate me a little bit. Our time lapse from today also showed another change from Malibu. Those clouds, those marine layer clouds that really came in, that was beautiful, just barreling up and over the peaks, the Malibu Hills. Very nice. All right, Live Megadopoulos 7000 HD. We got to start talking about the rain chances, and it was dry today, except the last few images here, we're seeing some echoes showing up. Looks like a little rain trying to get going from Santa Ana to Riverside, but then those echoes pop away. Not sure really if any of that's even reaching the ground, but the lesson here is we have the rain chances coming in to Southern California for tomorrow. And I'll tell you why in a moment, but all that real deep moisture is off to the east. And that's very important because we don't have a ton of moisture to work with this rain chance. So it's not a great rain chance, but it's there. 82 is our high today in LA, cooler than it was yesterday. And yesterday was cooler than the day before, so we are definitely cooling things down. We will be even cooler tomorrow. It is 70 in Long Beach, a beautiful evening if you ask me. 2 to 4 degrees cooler than this time last night at the coast, and about you've dropped 5 to 10 degrees anywhere else inland from last evening to now. So you feel a cool chill in the air of sorts. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a nice change. By the way, got a couple things to talk about. Just a real quick look out in the satellite. Tropical storm Lowell and Karina. Both will be weakening, but what's interesting, they will most likely interact by Sunday or so. A lot of deep moisture here in this area of the Pacific. Some of that could get yanked up into Southern California. That's later in the forecast. For now, low pressure almost right over us is giving us a very potent onshore flow that gives us that marine layer and the cooler weather, but we just don't have a lot of moisture for all this lift, which you see in the future scan right over us, to work with. So what does all this mean? It means a rain chance for just about everybody tomorrow. The better rain chances will be over the mountains. And then we head into Thursday, Friday, the rain chances diminish, staying cool, below average, but dry. So for highs tomorrow, we got the clouds in the morning through the valleys as well with the marine layer in place. Temperatures a couple degrees cooler than it was today, and your 7-day forecast shows slight chance of rain in LA and Orange County. 79, we warm up after that and stay steady in the 80s. No rain for the rest of the forecast. Slight chance in the valleys, IE, and then you're right around 90 or so until you warm up next week. So watch out for an isolated sprinkle or two. The mountains is where we could see a storm fire up tomorrow. The temperature's right around 70 degrees. The high desert, breezy, and a slight chance of that rain as well. Temperatures in the upper 80s tomorrow afternoon. So we're definitely feeling the cool for a few more days, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
And in tonight's Hollywood Wrap, a popular actor heads into the jungle.
Plus Madonna memorabilia for sale. Here's George Pinocchio with details, but first we say goodbye to a TV institution.
Okay, thanks very much. We begin tonight by saying farewell to one of the most recognizable voices in show business. Don Pardo had a 70-year career as an announcer for television and radio, including all but one of Saturday Night Live's 39 seasons.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Pardo had a lifetime contract with NBC. When he retired after 60 years, he still continued on SNL. In the black and white days of TV, Pardo was the announcer for such game shows as The Price is Right and Jeopardy! Pardo's daughter says he died peacefully yesterday at the age of 96. Longtime SNL cast member and writer Tina Fey said there was no greater thrill than hearing Don Pardo bellow your name for the first time in the opening credits of Saturday Night Live. It meant you were officially on television. She added, "Late night will never sound as cool again." Together, Julia Roberts and her husband Danny Moder will receive the Humanitarian of the Year award from the group GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network. The organization called their work on the recent TV movie The Normal Heart inspiring, saying it brought renewed attention to an important topic. The GLSEN Respect Awards will also honor Dancing with the Stars pro Derek Huff. He'll be honored with the Inspiration Award for the work he's done to combat bullying. The awards ceremony takes place in October. Items that once belonged to Madonna are going on the auction block. You'll find things from both her personal life and her professional life. Those items include costumes from Evita and A League of Their Own, handwritten lyrics, contracts, even an American Music Award. Julian's Auctions will handle the sale. It will take place in November. And finally, actor Benedict Cumberbatch seems to be drawn to the name Khan. He's already famously played one villainous character named Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. Now The Hollywood Reporter tells us he'll provide the voice of the tiger Shere Khan in the upcoming Warner Brothers film Jungle Book Origins. Disney also has a Jungle Book movie in the works. Idris Elba plays Khan in that one. And that is tonight's Hollywood Wrap. David, Shimona.
Thank you, George. Okay. Up next, details on a recall alert for numerous almond and peanut butter products sold at stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's.
Plus, you have to see a brand new auto feature that lets you spy on the parking valet.
And a look at the economic impact on Yosemite from the out-of-control junction fires.
Peanut and almond butter sold at Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and other grocery stores are being recalled because of possible salmonella contamination. At least 4 people may have become sick from the nut butters that were sold under various brand names, including Arrowhead Mills, Marantha, and private label brands for Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Kroger, and Safeway. Routine FDA testing revealed the risk of contamination, and you can find more specific product information on ABC7.com. Also today, Brita is recalling more than 240,000 children's water filter bottles because of safety concerns. The company says the lids can break into several sharp pieces, possibly cutting the kids. The hard-sided bottles feature the popular cartoon characters Dora the Explorer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob SquarePants, and Hello Kitty. Brita has received 35 reports of lids breaking or cracking. The bottles are sold online and at several retailers, including Walmart and Target.
New data on vehicle thefts shows thieves like to steal older cars. Here are the top 5 stolen vehicles in California last year. The National Insurance Crime Bureau says the 1996 Honda Accord was number 1. The 1998 Honda Civic was second, followed by the 2004 full-size Chevy pickup. The 1991 Toyota Camry came in 4th, and the 1994 Acura Integra fills out the top 5 stolen vehicles in California. And Chevrolet's new Corvette Stingray comes out next month, and it comes with a unique anti-theft device. When you valet park the new Vette, you can now track the car once you hand over your keys. GM is offering a valet option that lets you record video and audio when a parking attendant drives off with the Corvette. A camera also records the engine speed, cornering G-forces, and steering wheel angle. It's all part of navigation system optional, or of the navigation system optional package that costs about $1,800.
Wow,
not
could
a
be
bad idea.
Awfully tempting with the Corvette when they hand you the keys.
Take a little joyride.
It's a little drive. We are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
Including the latest on the execution of a U.S. journalist by ISIS terrorists. The victim's family speaking out tonight.
And in the wake of a deadly police shooting in Missouri, one local mayor says it's time to take action in the form of cop cameras.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, a newly released video showing a U.S. journalist beheaded by an ISIS terrorist. And tonight, the family of the victim, James Foley, is speaking out. I'm David Ono.
I'm Giovanna Lotta in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. U.S. authorities are still studying the video. It appears to show Foley on his knees in an orange jumpsuit with his executioner next to him, holding a knife in his left hand. His family confirming his death, saying, quote, "We have never been prouder of our son, Jim. He gave his life trying to expose the world to the suffering of the Syrian people. We implore the kidnappers to spare the lives of the remaining hostages like Jim. They are innocent." Foley disappeared in northern Syria about 21 months ago.
In Ferguson, Missouri, police are out in full force tonight as people continue to protest the killing of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer. As you are looking live at the scene, a grand jury is expected to start hearing evidence in the case tomorrow. 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot and killed by Officer Darren Wilson. His funeral will be held on Monday. And in the aftermath of the shooting in Ferguson, the mayor of Hawthorne is taking action. He's ready to introduce an ordinance mandating all uniformed personnel wear cameras on their uniform. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Olgain takes a closer look at the proposal.
In the city of Hawthorne, motorcycle traffic officers are already equipped with helmet-mounted cameras like this one, which provide an officer's point of view in high definition.
All you have to do is slide this button forward, it starts recording.
But now the mayor of Hawthorne wants to make it mandatory for all uniformed police officers to wear some kind of body cameras.
Citizens of Hawthorne deserve something like this.
At a news conference this morning, Mayor Chris Brown said the recent events in Ferguson, Missouri have played a part in his renewed efforts for a department-wide deployment of body cameras.
Without having all the facts, the first thing that popped in my mind was, what if the officer was wearing a camera? We'll have a lot more detail about the events that happened that day.
Hawthorne's police department has 95 officers. Currently, about 20 are provided cameras. A handful of officers have volunteered to test cameras like these as the city explores its options.
There's pros and cons to all the cameras. This one obviously is centered right here. It's just hooked on, so it tends to fly off if I do quick actions.
The mayor and the police chief say the cameras will provide accountability for the public and for officers.
Everything I do is built around taking care of my department, taking care of my officers, putting the best product out there. If this tool can make the great job they do more visible to the Hawthorne community, then that's the tool I want.
People in Hawthorne had mixed views.
A lot of times that's invasion of privacy.
I think the public should be informed about, how police officers are approaching people and individuals so that there's no incidents.
Back in March, the Los Angeles Police Department started a 90-day tryout of body cameras like these. LAPD officials are expected to choose a camera system in the next few weeks. LAPD Chief Charlie Beck addressed the cameras during today's Police Commission meeting.
We're trying to select a system. We have enough funding to buy several hundreds of systems so that we'll be able to deploy them. And then people can be more comfortable that contacts with police will be captured on video.
The mayor of Hawthorne says he plans to introduce an ordinance to City Council next week. If approved, the city would then need to figure out how to pay for the camera systems. Reporting from Hawthorne, Robert Olgain, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The police shooting of Ezel Ford was taken up at the meeting of the Los Angeles Police Commission today. Chief Charlie Beck said investigators have not come up with as many witnesses as they would like to the shooting of Ford following a struggle with two police officers in South Los Angeles earlier last week. For that reason, he says, the results of an autopsy are being withheld so as not to taint the witness pool.
That witness pool is very shallow at this point, and we want to make sure that we can get folks and that we can get their unvarnished statements before we use this.
The chief says the investigation into the Ford shooting will go through, quote, multiple levels of review, including one by the Office of the Inspector General.
The grand jury will be asked to hear evidence of the death of a man placed in an apparent chokehold by an LAPD officer. This all stems from the case of a 43-year-old Eric Garner who was caught on video in a scuffle with police last month. The Staten Island District Attorney says he's decided to take the case to a grand jury after an investigation and a medical examiner's report both ruled Garner's death a homicide caused by neck compressions from the chokehold.
3 relatives of Pope Francis have died, and a 4th is in critical condition after a car crash. Authorities say a small car carrying the Pope's nephew, his wife, and their 2 young children slammed into the back of a truck on a highway in Argentina. The crash killed the woman and 2 kids. The Pope's 38-year-old nephew is still in the hospital with extensive injuries. According to the Vatican, the Pope is aware of the accident and is deeply saddened. No word on what caused the crash. The driver of the truck was not hurt.
A veteran climber, California rock climber, falls to his death in Yosemite National Park hours after proposing to his girlfriend during another climb. 36-year-old Brad Parker proposed to his girlfriend, Janie Dial, after they reached the top of Cathedral Peak Saturday. She said yes. Officials say Parker then went climbing alone, without ropes, and fell on an established route. Parker's father says fatigue from the earlier climb may have been a factor in the fall.
The weather is helping firefighters contain a wildfire near Yosemite National Park. It began yesterday and is being fueled by gusty winds and dry brush. Higher humidity and calmer winds are keeping the flames from spreading. So far, the blaze has burned just under 2 square miles. 8 structures have been destroyed and about 1,000 people have been evacuated. 500 homes remain threatened around Oakhurst near the entrance to Yosemite. And the Junction fire has caused Highway 41 to close down and shut off all traffic. The highway is a major roadway to Yosemite National Park. Reporter Amanda Venegas shows us how the fire is impacting Oakhurst businesses during one of its busiest times of the year.
The Comfort Inn in Oakhurst is normally open for visitors, but in the midst of the Junction fire and evacuation notices, it's had to turn away guests one by one, including this family from France.
And the disruption, aside from local people's lives, to the tourists who are crucial to this economy.
Manager Jerry Rankin has been on the phone constantly since the evacuation and major road closure took place. The closure means no one can drive right into Yosemite National Park from Oakhurst.
In terms of sheer numbers, the Highway 41 entrance, or the south entrance as we call it, is the busiest entrance, and it is the busiest time of the year, so it's certainly impacting us.
Normally, Highway 41 is filled with cars, but it's eerily quiet with tourists shut out.
I've been here 28 years in tourism in this community, and I don't remember ever having to shut down the hotels.
Rhonda Salisbury with the Visitors Bureau says it's a major financial hit for the hotels and has a trickle-down effect. As for the Comfort Inn, they say they've had to cancel 80 or so reservations to their tourists who come from all over the country and the world.
We were closed last night. I'm afraid we'll be closed tonight. And if that's the case, we will have lost about $35,000.
Restaurants and businesses say they've lost thousands of dollars because of the Junction fire. Their only hope, the rest of the tourism season, is a busy one. Reporting in Oakhurst, Amanda Venegas.
Well, up next, a young woman being hailed a hero, how she pulled 2 children out of a tight spot.
And the new way to play the lottery coming to a gas station near you.
I'm Jonathan Novak. A few clouds today, if you notice, and the temperatures went this way, but the rain chances are going this way, up. Details in your 7-day forecast. Stick around.
A New York City woman is visiting Massachusetts and is being called a hero for rescuing two children strapped in a stroller that rolled down an embankment into a reservoir. Rebecca, the Good Samaritan, only wants her first name to be used. She was jogging at the Brookline Reservoir outside Boston yesterday when she saw the stroller roll into the water. Rebecca says it appears the mother and another woman were talking with their backs to the children, and they didn't even see it happen. Rebecca, a former lifeguard, jumped in, flipped the stroller, and helped get the two children out, ages 18 months and 4 years. She got them to safety.
The babies were down, so I was kind of, I think in my head thinking, like, I hope I hear them cry, I hope I hear them cry. And as soon as I flipped it, one of the little girls started crying. So I was like, okay, they weren't in for too long.
Authorities say the children were checked out as a precaution and are said to be okay.
Great story. A bill that cracks down on immigrant driver's license scams has been approved by the state assembly. The bill was inspired by scammers who offer driver's licenses at a cost of up to $1,000. But the fees are unnecessary. The Department of Motor Vehicles will start issuing licenses to immigrants next year. Under the new bill, those who try to profit from immigrant driver's license applications will face a $2,500 penalty. The bill now heads for the governor for his signature.
The California Lottery wants to make it easier for you to play for a chance at those massive jackpots. You can now buy tickets at the pump at certain gas stations. And Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes looks at the pilot program designed to make playing the lottery a real gas.
For most people, a trip to the gas station means pulling out one of these so they can pay at the pump. But with that card out already, California Lottery officials are hoping you and countless other people will
play at the pump.
Yep, that's play, as in play the lottery. Buy tickets at the pump while you fill your tank. The lottery folks say they're just trying to make things easier for all of us.
Californians, we have something to do. That we're very, very busy people, so this is just another way of them to buy the tickets without having to walk into the store.
The state lottery officials set up a couple of the new lottery ticket dispensing gas pumps for the media today. A hands-on demonstration of how they would work and how quickly gas pumpers would be able to buy $5, $10, or $20 worth of tickets.
This is a quick 20-second transaction. Buy your gas and you're on your way. What they do is swipe their card like they normally would. We'll select Play Lottery. We'll choose a game. We'll select Mega Millions. We'll choose 10 quick picks, and we'll type in our cell phone number. And that's it. We're pumping gas.
The potential winning numbers attached to the card you use.
If you win anything under $600, it's automatically going to be credited to your debit or your credit card.
Enter a cell phone number.
And it sends me a text message.
Which means you don't even need the numbers that are printed out at the pump. This is just a receipt. The real numbers are stored online. But all that convenience does come at a cost.
There is a $1 convenience fee that's going to be tacked onto that.
Meantime, some people worry that buying lottery tickets shouldn't be any more convenient.
Bad idea. Gambling's stupid.
Somebody might have a little bit of spending money, and instead of spending that money on something that they really need, they might be wasting it on that.
About 150 play at the pump machines are due to appear this fall, a pilot program to test interest. But one thing is certain, with gas prices where they are today, it seems as though you've got to win the lottery just to fill up your tank. In Burbank, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Possible rain in the forecast. Meteorologist Jonathan Novak has complete details up next.
And in sports, the Bruins are back home in Westwood as they get ready for the Saturday morning season opener at Virginia.
And a heartwarming donation for a local family. Watch as they receive a car and why it comes just as they need it the most. Jonathan Novak joins us for the weather. You may have recalled he said it was going to cool down today. It certainly did. So we should listen to see what's happening tomorrow.
Ooh, yes, listen closely. What else did I say? Maybe some rain, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so it looks like we've got the chances in there. We don't have a ton of moisture in the air, and that's going to be the limiting factor, but we have an area low pressure that is right over us over the next 24 hours. For today, it was beautiful. Temperatures below average. Very bearable. Nothing in the way of extreme heat. Temperatures at or below average. And there are some of those clouds. Angeles National Forest. I love that shot. That's really nice. As the cloud cover has started to return with that onshore flow, and even on that live mega Doppler 7000 HD, a couple of readings showing up here, a couple of echoes over the last couple of hours. But again, the majority of that moisture, the real deep moisture, and the showers and storms are well off to the east, and that's where they're going to stay, although tomorrow, especially in the afternoon, over the mountain areas, a couple storms could fire up, and we will have that in the forecast. 69 right now at LAX, winds out of the west, 10 miles an hour, i.e. pleasant tonight, and temperatures are cooler. They're running, as you'll see in the next graphic, a lot cooler than last night. A lot of 60s around. You're barely making it into the 70s at this moment. So right about 2 to 4 degrees cooler along the coast than you were last night. About 5 to 10, even 11 degrees. See, Palm Springs only 2 degrees cooler than last night, but everybody's cooler. So we're going to see even cooler temperatures tomorrow. So if you like this weather, you're in for a treat for the next couple of days, except for the fact we've got some rain in the forecast. Just a quick look at Lowell, tropical storm Karina. Both will be moving up to the north over the next few days, and as that happens, that moisture will coincide, and Lowell will pretty much, what looks like, wrap up what's left of Karina at that point. That's on Sunday, and that moisture could get pulled up into our area later in the forecast. For now, what we're looking at is this area low pressure that is off to the, just off to the northwest of us, about to be over us. High pressure off to the east, we're not looking at that. This low is really kicking up that onshore flow, and over the next few days as it does that, really tomorrow, it gives us lift. If we had more moisture in the air, we would have a lot more rain. We just don't have the moisture to work with, and so as a result, the rain chances are on the low end. Only 20% for LA, but it's something. The clouds will be there, and the temperatures will be down. 79. Yeah, about 5-6 degrees below average in LA in the 7-day forecast. Right around the mid-80s for the rest of the week until next week. High pressure back in play. Valleys, IE, you got a slight chance as well, 20%. And then you're at 90 degrees or so from Thursday on, but 83 tomorrow is way below average. I mean, what a change, guys. From the really hot weather over a couple of days, it's down to 83 in the valleys for tomorrow. 70 tomorrow in the mountains, 30% chance of storms. We'll keep you mostly dry on Thursday, and then mid-70s the rest of the week and dry. The high desert, slight chance of rain tomorrow as well, and then you start warming up too toward the weekend. Dallas has the latest on ABC7 at 11. Back to the desk.
Jonathan, thank you. You're welcome. College football season is closing in on us. UCLA kicks off the season just 11 days from right now, and time is a key component in the Bruins season opener. They're on the road at Virginia in a game that starts at noon, and Kurt Sandoval checks in from Westwood.
Westwood might feel like Maui for the Bruins after spending 2 weeks in San Bernardino's heat.
I thought San Bernardino was incredibly successful for us this year, but it only matters if we continue, like I said to him, to force that culture.
UCLA has the same challenge as every other team in America. Get ready for game speed, and Mora's solution, cut the 40-second play clock in half.
And what we've done all through camp is kind of every week brought the play clock down a little bit so that we're where we want to be during the season.
School won't start here at UCLA until the first week in October. That's a great thing for this Bruin team that opens the season in 11 days at Virginia. That's a noon start back east, so 9 a.m. on the body clock works quite well next week. They'll be practicing in the morning, not going to school.
We will start every practice before what kickoff will be on Saturday. And as you guys know, during the season, we practice at 7 a.m.
The talk in college football is the inaugural 4-team playoff system. But even ABC's college football broadcast team debates the Bruins' realistic chances of being involved.
I've put them in the Final Four. A lot of people are talking about Oregon coming out of the West, but I'm so impressed with Brett Hundley.
I think it's going to be very tough, to be honest with you. I just don't see any team surviving the gauntlet of the Pac-12 and getting to the Final Four bracket.
The gun goes off on that run in just 11 days. Kurt Sandoval, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And Little Leaguer Monet Davis has become a big league star. She tossed a complete game shutout for Philadelphia's Tanny Dragons in their Little League World Series opener. She's the first girl to throw a shutout and the sixth to get a hit in Little League World Series history. With that effort, Davis will grace the cover of this week's Sports Illustrated. How awesome is that for her?
So cool.
Monet Davis is expected to pitch tomorrow against Las Vegas. The winner advances to the United States Championship game.
You go, girl. Local businesses in Rancho Cucamonga come together to help a family in need. As Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan tells us, it's a gift that could make all the difference in their lives.
Looking at little Kira Walker, it's hard to see that she has brain and liver damage.
You wouldn't know she's sick unless we told you. She does amazing. She's a happy little girl.
But she needs a new kidney. Her mom is hoping to give her one.
We're looking at mom donating the kidney, and if that doesn't work out, we'll be on a donor list.
Still, for the time being, raising a child who needs constant medical attention is difficult, especially with only one car.
We were maintaining such a hectic life. I would have to take off of work to get her to her appointments. I have to leave early or go in late.
But life should get a little easier with a refurbished 2012 Toyota Corolla.
I can't even put into words how I feel about it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what people have gone through to help us.
Everything was donated by local businesses. James Krause is with Caliber Collision.
Yeah, we didn't want them to put any money into this car. We just want to get them, just get in it and drive.
They say it's a good example of giving back to those who give themselves. And for a man who served his country in the Navy and a mother who's willing to give up a kidney, they say a new car is the least they could do.
I had no idea how many people would be here and how many different companies were helping make this happen for us. It's huge.
Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More news straight ahead here at 8 o'clock.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC, police are trying to track down a clown who is responsible for a Southern California crime spree. Plus, the world of Sin City returns for a sequel. We talked to the stars about the action and fight-filled crime thriller. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast. That's Eyewitness News at 11 on KABC.
USC today showcased its new Wallace-Annenberg Hall for Communication and Journalism. Work on the $59 million hall is still underway as they get ready for the fall semester. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson was on hand to check out the new state-of-the-art facility. The 88,000-square-foot hall has the latest in tech tools and broadcast equipment.
The Mariachi 5K run will not go on as planned this weekend in Boyle Heights. This is the story we brought you last night at 8:30. The organizer today announced the run is on hold indefinitely. The race had stirred up some controversy over its theme. Some felt the event would make a mockery of the music and what it represents. Organizers say they'll hold the run on a later date at a new location and hope runners who signed up will stick with them. Refunds will be offered for those who just want their money back.
Well, thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8 o'clock here in LA56. Law and Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. See you tomorrow night at 8 right here on LA56.